It's your party.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Hello again. My name is Lita Lee, and I work for Hidden Gears. Hidden Gears is Hawaii-based. Paulo and Akemi both live and work in Honolulu, and we are a Shopify design, development, and digital marketing agency. And I would say boutique Shopify specifically. We specialize and are Shopify partners and Shopify experts. They also, Paulo and Akemi are more dev and development and programming, creating websites. I do typically handle more of our marketing and digital marketing with ads, audits, SEO, and things like that. So really we focus on technical barriers for websites and how to be consultants and help people reduce their technical debt, really, which is, basically when you may have something or it's been created, and then you start accumulating small things that don't quite work the way you want them to. We specialize in trying to aid with getting those things back on track and identifying what they are and how to handle those. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Yeah, can everyone see my screen with the slide?
Yeah,
great. This particular presentation is focusing on UX and UI best practices, which are pretty much the foundation of the way your site works, and the logistical, physical elements, navigation, buttons, the experience, all of that together. And we'll kind of dive into how that relates and connects, and how we can connect it to getting your customers through their funnel to make a purchase. So that is Paulo and Akemi. And this was just a brief kind of refresher on us. This slide I will refer to often for some hit points. I am going to incorporate a lot of live examples here. These are all included and mentioned in the deck, which you will be sent after this presentation. But I first want to say that if anyone has any questions off the bat, something maybe logistical or something that, that's not, please let me know. If there is a question that's super specific to something I'm going over, maybe pop it in the chat and we can revisit that whenever we're done here at the end. Yeah, but just really quick, is there anything someone off the bat logistically is like not working or had a question on? Because if not, I will proceed. This first blurb here is pretty much, the deal that your website is an arm of your business extension online. And with strategy, we can learn how to make sure that a website meets the needs of the customers that are coming to view it online, as opposed to brick and mortar in store. Kind of tie those two together. So start by defining UX and UI. UI stands for user interface. So that is basically how a product or a system appears. So these are the guts of your website, the structure, navigation, how you get around, how things function. Those are all under user interface. UX stands for user experience, which is basically translating that structure into how it is interpreted on the end of the customer end when they are viewing your website, navigating through it, making choices, learning, etc. So it kind of melds the two are pretty much usually referred to in tandem, simply because when you have user interface, it's inevitable that the interpretation of that follows. And that's usually the part that we want to know more about in the customer journey, which is how did they experience that? One thing with UX and UI that's kind of the basis of whether it's good, whether it's bad, is really, is it easy? Is it enjoyable? Is it something that is intuitive? And when someone hits your website and they go looking for something specific, can they find what they're looking for? Are there any roadblocks in order to get there? So a couple of questions I posed here for UX and UI to just kind of think about and chew on are, whenever you are going to a website, can you think of some typical or standard placements of things that you expect to find pretty much universally across websites? So whenever you land on a website, do you expect to find some type of menu or navigation tool on the home page? Do you expect to find references to cart or an account or things like that? So that's what we're going to cover here in terms of, over the years in modern development, there have been kind of some standards established. And is there room to maybe disrupt that flow and have innovation and do something different that isn't taking something that totally works to something that is a roadblock or annoying or hard to actually get through and make progress? So for UX and UI, some attributes of good would be, is it easy? Does it build trust in your brand and product? That is something actually that we'll talk about a lot here, and is kind of the point of UX and UI is, does this build trust and security in your brand or product? Consistency is a really good way to do that. Also, does your website's architecture allow someone to do something easily? Like, I land on your website, I'm there because I already know what I want to do. I really like this particular product. I just want to find it and then I want to go purchase it. Making sure that the process and the steps to get there aren't interrupted or unnecessarily held up by other things. And also, do people want to go to your website? This also kind of makes us think about mobile, which we're going to talk about a little bit later as well. But right now, typically over 50% of almost all websites users will be finding your site and appearing there for the first time on mobile, because we're on our phones a lot. And actually, we're on our phones more than we're on desktops these days. So is this something that we want to, are we feeling like, oh, I need to go from mobile back to desktop to complete a purchase? That is often the case for a lot of people, but there are ways through good UX and UI that we can try and eliminate some of those roadblocks. And pretty much, as it says here, if done well, this whole architecture is usually invisible. No one really thinks about when they go to a website, okay, this doesn't go here. They just really kind of come away with the feeling of, that was easy, I was able to do that fine. Or they'll come away with oh, I didn't really see what I wanted. Or perhaps they'll come away with, there were too many options, I couldn't make a decision. And so then they'll end up abandoning your website and going elsewhere. So those are things that good UX and UI can help tackle. Yeah, so core elements and features of modern UX and UI. And we will first go to the homepage, which is literally the hub and the entry point of your website. I have several examples that I want to show you guys of what we're talking about here. I've made some bullet points of things that you would expect to see or that can be beneficial to have for your homepage. But basically, considering the fact that your homepage is going to be the entry point to your website and where people start, it is the best opportunity to learn and to convey your brand's personality, your image, your everything. So making home pages clear, concise, engaging is really helpful. We will talk about the header and the navigation bar here in just a bit, because it is its own beast in terms of trying to function through choices and selections. But I am going to go ahead and pick up one of the first examples that we have for homepage, which is Trade Coffee. This website is drinktrade.com. This homepage in particular, they are using video as what this area right here is referred to as a hero banner often. So this is usually the entry point, the very top of your website. And a lot of websites will use this area to advertise, give their, the big message, promotional messaging, whatever's coming up. So Trade Coffee is using a kind of like an ongoing media video that loops in order to capture attention. It's fairly effective. Something else that we mentioned for home pages is what's called CTA. That stands for call to action. So things like buttons right here, engaging, get started right here. That's a CTA. So these are ways that we can pull attention and ask someone to come do something. Down here, below their main hero banner, we have what we would consider value proposition statements. So these are call outs that are specific to what the brand offers, what, some benefits, features that they want you to know about, flexible deliveries, large selection and inventory. So these are good examples of call outs and the type of value statements that you could add to your homepage to kind of give a little bit more personality and kind of show your features and benefits as well. Here they have another little module of kind of how it works. This is explaining their subscription model, and also kind of gives you a little bit more information on them. So this is also what we'd consider for value propositions. Testimonials, reviews, press, that's something else that they, award-winning coffee from around the world. That's a great statement, eye-catching. It's bold, like their coffee, and also has a CTA, which is basically redirecting you to another section if you want to learn more. And there we have some call outs of press mentions that they've had recently. This particular brand incorporates an FAQ into their homepage. This is something we're going to go into in terms of other pages and content you can have. But they, in general, have kind of packed in as much valuable information as they felt was necessary for their homepage. Another aspect of home pages that we can take a look at, social media feeds. I see a lot of brands incorporating basically like an Instagram feed here, something that kind of pulls in and shows what their audience is doing, or posting and sharing of their content. One of the biggest benefits for social media feeds is the use of UGC, which stands for user generated content. That's basically when your fans and your customers feel compelled to share their experiences images, videos, etc. Using that content and making that work for you is can be really big. We also see user-generated content in things like reviews, whether that's for product reviews or directly on the collection pages and snippets and quotes. And, someone sends you, I loved this, you can turn that into a review. So, and then we have the footer on your homepage. Pretty much most homepages have footers, and footers usually contain links and additional pages and information that are important, but not important enough to keep up here in your top navigation, which is what we're going to talk about next. This area, when you land on the page, you get big engaging images, hero banner, call outs, and then you have what we typically come to expect, which is a navigational menu up here. I was going to show you one other homepage that I've really liked. This is Olukai. They are actually doing something very interesting right here, because the URL itself shows that they are actually redirecting their homepage to a collection page currently, because Mother's Day is around the corner and they are wanting to pull in content and focus on women and their women's collection. But here they have a similarly large hero banner and specific CTA. It happens to be the exact same color as the other site, to get people to click and engage further with that. Another thing that's interesting here is that you'll notice as I move the mouse around, it stays a hand. That means the entire image is actually clickable. And so anywhere that you would click on this is going to take you to this page. However, they still included a button with the CTA to direct your attention and to have you want to click on that more and make it more obvious that it's clickable. So that's another thing, that CTAs don't have to be exclusively clickable. It's also about engaging your customer to move further down the funnel. So I'm just going to scroll down to see their footer. Their footer is pretty condensed, which is good. And it also contains all of those other pages and extras, shipping, terms and conditions, basically all the pages that aren't necessary for the top navigation, which are almost always focused on purchasing. So I will go here to, there's some examples that I had taken screenshots of there in the deck as well. Navigation, IA stands for information architecture. This is basically how you present the information on your page, collections. Does it create convenience? Does it make things easier? So landing here on Olukai's site, their top navigation is pretty small. They have really just men's, women's, and then they have Explore, where you can find other information about them. This is one method. There's, I'm gonna skip over here to Big Island Coffee Roasters. They have a more extensive top navigation in which it's pretty intuitive. Hawaiian coffees, when I come up here, I would expect to be finding Hawaiian coffees, and indeed I do. Collections and gifts, they have employed a method where it's reveal on hover, basically. So when my mouse pointer comes over here, I get to see the options without having to click. You can still click, but it basically is intuiting that if I'm moving my mouse there, I would like to see what it is. And then we have Hawaiian Coffee Club, Espresso Bites, Learn More, and that's kind of where they've had grouped some of their other pages that you can use. So yeah, this is a fairly intuitive, well-designed navigation. If I go here, then I can just kind of scroll and move down here. This remains open as long as my mouse is here, it goes away when I move it away. One thing to mention with navigation that is really important is keeping it concise. You'll see something that's referred to as like mega menus, basically where you may have a retailer that has a lot of products, thousands. And you'll end up coming up here and hovering, and it'll show you gigantic options. Those can be great for the right retailer and someone who has a lot of product options and very varied. Those can be helpful for someone who may want to kind of take a peek at the homepage. A lot of times keeping it more concise and more streamlined is helpful. And you typically want to only have pages and links up here that are important to the journey of purchase, because that's ultimately what your goal is. Footer is an excellent place to put pages that don't necessarily need to be in the top navigation or for extra learning. So. Examples here in the deck. Kind of following the journey here, if I've landed on your website and I've hit your homepage, I've gone through the navigation. If I'm looking to make a purchase or I'm looking to see your inventory, typically those are housed on what are called collection pages or CLPs. I am going to transition back to Olokai. So from this pretty small pop-out navigational menu, their collection pages are actually kind of mini collection pages in collection pages. So they are defining their women's collection by type. So we have women's golf shoes. There's only 2 styles. However, if we keep scrolling, we have women's sandals. And then we have other types of shoes. Then we have boots. So their collection pages have outlined and determined that when someone is landing on collections all for women's, they want to show them that they have different styles within that. So this is the way that they've executed that for collection pages. One of the things that is really important with collection pages is you want to have clear product titles and pricing information. There are some variability in that in terms of pricing. Some collection pages don't show the prices of the items. That's a choice. Typically expect that if someone is landing on and seeing your collection pages, they are wanting to see your inventory. They want to see what you got, and they are further down the funnel than someone who is still investigating or potentially just still in the learning phase. Engaging content and engaging imagery, consistent, professional. If you look here, their product images are what is shown on the collection page. If you hover over it, you get a secondary image that shows a lifestyle shot of that product. They have also incorporated a lot of extras on the collection page. So they have the style, they have the name, they have reviews show up on their collection page, which if you have a lot of reviews on your site, this can be a pretty big deal. They also have what is known as quick add or quick shop, which coming here, I'm on the collection page, I'm looking at this shoe, I hover here, I can just click quick add and it's immediately added to the cart or pops out and has quicker options than continuing to research. So this is just another way that you can try and engage your customers who are on the collections page with shorter paths to making a purchase. Additional information and other descriptions, variants, variant options. For that, I'm going to actually switch over here to Warby Parker, which is fairly well-known glasses and eyewear manufacturer. They have an extensive collection with a lot of variant options, which is basically when you have one style and maybe there's 20 colors that comes in. How they demonstrate that on their collections page is they give you very clear pictures, images of the item against a white background, the name, and then they have a radial dial down here where you can see all of the different color options with color swatches. And if you click on it, it immediately switches to a different variety. So this is something that's, if you have an inventory that is got a lot of different options, maybe apparel as well, t-shirts with lots of different colors. This is a way that you can engage your customer in what's displayed on the collections page. Another way is that collection pages can often incorporate these kind of additional informational blocks. This is an opportunity to include some more information for your products. This is also an opportunity to introduce a promotion or something maybe that isn't known when you get to the collection page. So here they are enticing you to go shop this other collection, which is, you know, a new collaboration that they have. You scroll down a little bit more, see some more styles, and then you see another block that invites you to try out their mobile app in order to try on products through mobile. So those are good ways that you can kind of add and stuff additional information into your collection pages and kind of break up the monotony if you have a lot of different styles, and also grouping your products here by variant, like having one main product and then having each variant underneath it. That's a way that you can kind of cut down on information overload and deciding, getting fatigued. Let me see here. Breadcrumbs. That's something that is mentioned occasionally, nice to have. Warby Parker doesn't use breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs are references basically to where you are on their site on the collection page. So a breadcrumb would basically show me here the home page link to maybe another page, and then a link to the collection that I'm at currently. It's, you know, one idea that you can have to give people more information about where they are, where they came from, if they've been searching through your site. Also using the search function and filters so that someone can come in here and go, okay, there's a lot of products on this page. I know that I want something that is this, or I only want to see black options. Then you can go to the filter and choose by color, material, etc., and kind of narrow down. So providing these options for your customer is useful and makes their experience a lot easier and faster. If you find that you have like a smaller inventory, having collection pages be interspersed with informational dialogue and these kind of like boxes here helps in terms of, because when someone lands on a collection page and they see 3 options, they can take in that information very quickly. So juicing up your collection pages is useful with these kind of extra modules or opportunities to learn more about other products. From collection pages, here's another example of Warby Parker. We have product detail pages, also known as PDPs, and that is basically your product pages where you go to make a purchase. And here it's basically the point of your site, and the clear product titles and pricing is even more important here than it was before. Here's your chance to showcase your product, all of its angles, all of its everything. For product detail pages, especially ones that have multiple variants, I am going to, let's see here. Move this down here just a bit. Apologies. Let's see here. Pause and share. Give me that bar back. Thank you. Ugmonk.com is the example that I have for this particular product detail page. They have a very clean interface. They have more than 10 variants with apparel, t-shirts. They have lifestyle and standard against a white background imagery. They show a lot of angles. They give you representations for each color. This color selector here, let's say I'm like, oh, I'd like to see what the blue t-shirt looks like, please. Click on the blue. And it immediately changes the assets to the blue t-shirt. So there's no confusion of, I clicked on the blue t-shirt, that's what I want to order, but the images didn't change. More examples with lifestyle. They also have basically a little carousel down here where you can say, actually, I wanted to see the fabric close up. That's what I want to do. So looking at product pages in terms of, can I get all of the information that someone would want in order to execute, make a purchase? We have multiple variants and multiple sizes and multiple products technically, because you can purchase 1, 3, 5 pack here. Have the descriptions. They have little bullet point details down here. Even though the font is a little on the smaller side, it is readable, it is clear. They have a sizing guide here on the page. That's information that you can put somewhere else or put links to, but having all of the information that someone would want for the product there is very beneficial. They even have a shipping and returns link here, right here on the product page. And they also have a click down to reviews. Reviews are great for your product pages. Sometimes it's difficult to get and collect reviews, but having a reviews module helps build authority and trust in your products, especially if it's not so obvious that the reviews are curated. So I would say that based on 125 reviews, the fact that 120 of them are 5-star and 5 are 4-star may not go as far to solidify the trust and authority that I have in this site. I would expect at least one person would have a negative review. Maybe their review is negative because they didn't like something, but it has nothing to do with the actual product. Part of building trust and authority is being transparent with your customers. So I would say having honest reviews, and not all bad reviews are bad. So here, their reviews module just kind of identifies someone by partial name, the date that their review was left, where they're from. There are the reviews modules that allow customers to upload images. That goes back to the user-generated content and how that can work for you. So yeah, engaging content that further promotes the brand. We scroll back up here, we see there's a block here that shows a video of how their t-shirts are made. Here's some more call outs with their other styles and kind of just information behind the brand. These are all on the product page. Basically, the assumption is I landed on the product page here. I'm interested. I want to maybe purchase, but if I keep scrolling, maybe I didn't find exactly what I needed in order to push me over the edge. So that this is the opportunity that you can take to kind of share more about your business, your goals, information. You can also add this area here, which is a you may also like. A lot of businesses end up incorporating kind of carousels or other options that are close, but maybe a little different. This gives someone directly on the product page more information about other products that you can share with them. This is a really valuable one in terms of if you have a product that has lots of different variants, being able to show similar things that may also have those variants down here can engage someone to stay on the product page or click through to another product page. Out of stock notifications and waitlist signups, that's a nice to have. That's a consideration here. So if you find that you have an inventory that sells out and you want to know from your customers, hey, if I brought this back, would you buy it? Waitlist signups and out of stock notifications are one of the easiest and most convenient ways that you can keep informed with which of your products are actually worth bringing back. That can inform purchasing decisions, inventory, etc., and also give someone the idea that you are actually working behind the scenes to fulfill their needs because they will be notified once you get something back in stock. Here's a couple examples from Ugmonk that was basically the same page. Here's an example from Hawkins, New York. I'll pop up to that one. Hawkins, New York is a home decor, upscale home retail. They have a ton of variants of this one product. They actually have these products listed individually, but you can view all of the variants under one product shell here. So I click on a different color, changes the color, I immediately can see it. I know which one I've chosen. And I can quickly add to bag. If I'm not ready, I can keep scrolling, see more imagery for this particular product, and then see more information on materials, dimensions, care, where this was made. So from product page, hopefully they'll be transitioning to checkout. There's a lot of opportunities in your cart and checkout to continue to engage your customer and give them perhaps other upsell opportunities. One thing to acknowledge here is once you've reached the cart, the assumption is that your customer is ready to purchase. So minimizing distractions once you reach the checkout is preferred, keeping your customer down the funnel. So I'm actually going to go back to Big Island Coffee Roasters here. I'm on their page for their Peaberry highest rated 100% Kona coffee. If I've decided this is the one for me and I'm ready, I'm going to hit add to cart. Their cart pops out and gives me a lot of information based on the product that I've just placed in the cart. So the first thing here is upsell opportunities. They showed me that if I spent just $19 more, I would qualify for free FedEx shipping. So that's a pretty big opportunity in the cart in order to encourage maybe $19. I mean, I've just committed to a $40 purchase. I might be willing to add something else that's at least $20 more to get free shipping, because free shipping is kind of a big deal. They also, in the cart, pop out some other options conveniently that I could add to my order from right here in order to try and meet that threshold. So this is a really well done cart and checkout experience where you told me, yep, it's there. You gave me some more information about shipping, and you also gave me opportunities to add some other products if I wanted to directly in the cart. Going to checkout itself with Shopify sites, a lot of them that use Shopify checkout will come on a page that looks just like this. Shopify's checkout is pretty streamlined and basic. There are some additional things that you can add, but Shopify is expecting that once you've reached this stage, you want to keep moving the person down for purchase. So there isn't a lot of distraction once you're actually in checkout here. There is a button that you can click here to return to the site. But other than that, it's mainly, let's get you on your way once you've reached checkout. So that is hopefully one of many journeys someone could take to purchase. They land on your homepage, they use your top navigation, go to a collection, see the products they'd like, and then add to cart, ending in purchase through checkout. Evaluating this and trying to eliminate roadblocks whenever possible is basically auditing your UX and UI. Also shipping, clearly defined shipping costs, we talked about that. But I think there's room to speak about the fact that shipping is costly. And while we have built a economy that expects shipping to be free, that is slowly shifting. And I think especially for Hawaii, shipping mainland, being transparent and giving your customers as many options as you can is preferred over free shipping options that aren't realistic or that drive up the cost of the product itself. So another way that you can journey through a website without being the homepage being the entry point is something we refer to as landing pages. These can be anything from just informational pages that are about you as a business. These can be informational pages about your policies, things you offer. These can be blogs. These can be curated landing pages that are specific to the point of origin. So I'll just kind of briefly touch on some of these. Most of the time, the About Us page, Contact Us page, Frequently Asked Questions, these are going to be the types of pages that maybe you'll have in your footer. But they're going to be pages that are still good to have, and people are going to visit them when they want to know more about you. I have a couple of examples here. Hala Eyewear, they have an excellent About page. Their About page is in their top navigation, which isn't always. Their About page is engaging, it has diagrams, it has their mission. This type of content is great in learning more about them. It's concise, but yet it still gives you an impression of who they are and what they're trying to achieve. That also directs to other collections. This is a quiz that you can go and be engaged with. So they are tailoring this information to someone who wants to learn more and it maybe isn't ready to purchase. Here we have more information about the founder and I mean, just this, and also their mission with working with Room to Read. So this is an excellent place where you can put all of those extra brand tidbits and let someone learn more about you. Contact Us pages help with giving you area to put your address, put your email address. Here they have theirs down in the footer. That's fine. But it's another source where you can help build authority and trust. Almost all sites have kind of a frequently asked questions page. This is really just kind of a, hey, where can I find or get answers to some of the most common things? A lot of websites end up pulling their own real life experience, questions that people might have in person, questions they've received through their email correspondence. They'll put the answers to those up here. So someone can, I've got it, maybe I'll check here first. This is also a way to build kind of content and kind of thinking in terms of organic content, that things that you might start to rank for organically. Landing pages and blogs specifically can help you expand your organic reach as well. Shipping and returns, having a place where this is clearly outlined that someone can go and see before they get all the way down to checkout, or if it needs to be outlined, if it's not outlined there. Refunds and exchanges, blogs. Blogs are totally optional. A great way to create content and build additional authority and a voice in the marketplace. So I've got a couple of examples of blogs. This is bluffworks.com. They are a men's and women's apparel, travel apparel. They have a content link up here in their navigation that is journeys. And clicking on that takes you to basically a self-contained blog where they have journal entries. The founder often speaks from first person perspective, and basically more content that is related to the travel industry and to travel apparel. This is not what I would consider a traditional kind of blog layout. This is more storied. You come in here, you're looking, you know, you see this, oh, but actually I'd like to read this. So this is more of a like a block engaging journey, literally. Here's another example, which is Meow Meow Tweet. They are a beauty and health products. Deodorant is one of their biggest ones. They also have a link to their blog here, right here in the top navigation. Theirs is a more traditional format. They basically just kind of have blog posts laid out in chronological order. And you can just kind of scroll and peruse and go, oh, I'd like to learn more about that. So you can click on that. And these are also usually written from the perspective from the founder. Field Company, they produce cast iron pans. And they have a different method that is kind of a hybrid between a blog and what are essentially custom landing pages. If you scroll down from their homepage, they use their blog journal posts as features. And you can click here, how to season a cast iron cookware. Yes, I want to know. Come here, you can read all of this. Close out that pop-up. And they have really in-depth information about their products that if someone were on the fence, this might be the thing that, you know, pushes them over. This is kind of a hybrid because there isn't a place that you go to see just a blog, but it's kind of integrated as an organic experience in the funnel through their website. Because they know wisely that that's one of the first questions people have whenever they're researching their products. Custom landing pages are kind of their own beast in that you can basically create a page and tailor it to the origin. Maybe you're running an ad and you want someone to land on a page that's not your home page. You want them to get there and create your own kind of mini funnel down towards purchase. Here's an example of a custom landing page. This is Harry's.com. They are men's razors, shaving products. This page you won't find in their navigation. You won't find it in their footer. You won't really find it referenced hardly anywhere else on their website. This page is designed for someone who is coming in from either an affiliate, maybe they were reading about this on a blog somewhere else, or this is potentially tailored to an ad that is promoting a special promotion. This is an opportunity to tailor your message to the origin and to basically continue a customer down the funnel with a really good offer. This is a special offer that is for basically a set that they don't have on their website normally through their regular collection pages. Yeah, so landing pages are another way that people can enter your website, another journey, and it's good to think about those as well in terms of capturing the attention of people through other methods, whether that's ads or through reference links. We have a couple of other examples here. This is from Bluffworks. This is basically a tailor-made collection page, essentially a custom landing page, where this one is located in the footer. And you can basically just, I want to know about travel clothes. Okay, so I'm just going to go there first. So mobile is a big consideration for all of this. So we'll take all of this that we've just talked about. It's all been desktop examples. In truth, more than 50% of visitors will find your website for the first time on mobile. So integrating a mobile first design is no longer nice to have. It's basically, you must. It is true that most people will end up navigating through mobile and returning on desktop. That's not necessarily a have to. It's usually the result of the experience on mobile not being tailor-made for keeping them down the funnel once they're ready to purchase. A couple of stats that I included in the deck, but basically for the last, from 2013 to 2020, mobile usage has gone up 1.34%. It's no surprise. Desktop usage has gone down. That is a little bit surprising to me, but it just is mainly that it's easier to access our phones. So having your website look good on mobile is essential. One way that you can do this is you can view your website. You can shrink your window. For most browsers, so I'm on Chrome, most browsers have a responsiveness to them that will show you kind of as you shrink your window, what it's going to look like. So here, we'll take field company. If we just take our window and start moving it, we see what this would look like on a device approximately this size. So if you want an easy way to do that on desktop, you can just shrink the size of your browser for responsive sites. There is also navigating sites on your mobile device. That's an easy way you can do it. We also use a tool which is called Browser Stack, and we essentially can view what a site would look like on a specific mobile device and a specific browser. You don't have to use something like this. This is a paid subscription that we use, but it's to basically kind of hammer home the point that it is actually really important to make sure that all of these things and effort that you've put into it looks good on mobile as well. So I will just, I'm going to go to Monk. This is what did I pick here? iPhone 13. Browser is Safari. So here I can literally see exactly, this is a real device. So this is exactly what it would look like on your mobile phone. And be able to, is it readable? Is it viewable? Is it clickable? Did something break whenever it became a lot smaller? This is the type of thing that you want to keep in mind whenever you're building your site. How does this look on mobile? So menus, what happens here? Nothing apparently, just kidding. Menus are still accessible, still readable. I can still get to exactly where I want. Essential teas, yes. Ugmonk has built a site that looks essentially the exact same, almost, from desktop to mobile, and making sure that that is kind of a seamless transition is pretty essential nowadays, especially with so many people viewing your devices on mobile. The ultimate goal here is always strive to build trust. You want to have a well-constructed site that is easy to use, but that also is consistent and has your customers believing in your product and believing in you and wanting to continue with purchase. A lack of trust creates doubt, which can lead to over-consideration and fatigue. Something that I put in here. And absolutely, it also leads to users to abandon your site or purchase. That's kind of the reference we make to abandoned carts. Basically, where people are thinking about it, they'll add it to cart, and then just something else happens, whether it's too many options, not enough options. They'll leave and then maybe come back, maybe not. So making sure that you have removed any roadblocks and that the transition is as seamless as possible is basically the point of UX and UI. And also bridging the gap between your in-person experience, brick and mortar sales, where you can speak to someone directly, and making it as seamless online as well. One additional thing to talk about here is accessibility and compliance with that. So this is kind of an additional addendum. It's not something that I can get into full force. Accessibility could be its own presentation. Accessibility is a pretty big thing, but we'll touch on it just a bit because it should also be an part and parcel with your design and when you are constructing and looking at a website. So basically, why does accessibility matter? And it's really just the comparison that your online store is no different than a physical store in terms of the need to provide accessible accommodations to customers with disabilities. Systems such as Shopify there's things in place that are automatically accessibility built in. However, there are a lot of elements that cannot be controlled simply by the structure of your site. So there's no one size fits all. I purchase a site out of the box, everything's perfect, because that's not how your site stays. You add images, you add content. So keeping up with that is on the merchant and is all of our responsibility, actually. A couple of infographics on accessibility. Main takeaway is that 1 in 4 Americans have some type of disability. In terms of visual impairment, which is typically the largest portion of disability for online, 17% of those who are visually impaired have an impairment that cannot be corrected with glasses or contact lenses. So whenever we are thinking about accessibility and how do we accommodate, one of the biggest things is considering the largest source of information that we have in reference for accessibility standards, and that is WCAG, which is known as Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. It was first created over 20 years ago, when the internet is in its infancy. And it basically is a very large, comprehensive guideline for how to make sites more accessible. The biggest things that WCAG covers is visual elements, so font size, color, contrast, structural elements. So these are going to be a lot of the things we talked about today, and the actual like behind the scenes things that are created. So headers, H1, H2, H3s, interactive elements. These are the CTAs we were talking about, buttons, forms, things that you can fill out, and then also labels such as alt text. Those are for images to define what they are if they cannot be seen. Here's just a few examples of basically just visual examples of thinking about elements on your site and how you can make those more accessible. Those are typically going to be things like don't create buttons that are so small that they can't be read or accessed. And that's for both desktop and mobile. Thinking about your font sizes. You want to make sure that your elements of your site are responsive to the device they're being viewed on, and also that you don't create elements that are rigid and can't be changed. So if someone wants to expand the font to 200% so that they can see it and read it easier, that it doesn't break your site. So having a responsive site and keeping these type of design elements in mind as well. Color contrast. A lot of us have brand ideas or like a color scheme or a brand identity that we use. In designing a website, it's good to remember that maybe some compromises can happen in order to make sure that your site is easily seen and accessible by everyone. So we saw that a lot of those CTAs and the buttons that we saw on the other sites were red button with a white font over them, making sure those type of elements are easily seen and read, and aren't so designy that we lose the ability to actually make them functional. Here's some resources I've included in the deck you will receive. Biggest ones are, there is the link to the website, Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which is now in 2.1. There's a contrast checker that you can use to compare color schemes. There's also a free screen reader that you can use to basically pull your site into a screen reader, kind of like how I did with the browser stack with the phone, so that you can see what your site looks like when viewed through a device such as a screen reader. And also reference for Firefox as a browser has a lot of built-in accessibility options that you can use to test your site as well. So that is pretty much what I've got. Yeah, and then my content. So I hope everyone found that informative, and I would be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone might have, or if anyone just wants to chat about something in particular. Yeah, absolutely.
Ed has a question for you.
Yeah.
He appears to have stepped away. So oh, here he comes. Sorry, Ed, I called you out. Hey, Ed, you want to ask your question?
Hi. So in the beginning, hey, thank you for your presentation. It was really informative, and I had a question about you mentioned hero banners. How often should they be changed?
So I'm gonna switch back here so we can see this. Hero banners are often used as a promotional tool. So if you are like, okay, and you're using your hero banner currently to encourage purchases through a women's line, I could see that you could change that on fairly often. Is there a you must do it this way or not this way? Not really. I've seen a lot of sites that their hero banner is basically permanent, that they've created a messaging that they really like, and it's really engaging for their brand. And this is less about promotional things and more about their brand message. I'd say Trade Coffee is more along those lines. I've seen this multiple times and it has not changed. So I'd say mainly if you're using it for promotional reasons, you can change that fairly often. And if you're using it as an introduction to new customers to the brand, then if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
All right. And how is a video or a slideshow hero banner? Which one would be more effective?
For that, I would say it's going to depend on how engaging that content is, and also consider the load on your website and how fast that can. So if someone is coming to your website and your video or your assets are really large, they haven't been compressed or they haven't been optimized for to appear fast, slowing down your website over having a really good video on your hero banner, I would take a faster website any day. So make sure your assets don't slow down your website to the point that you are having really slow load times, or potentially interrupting the process of someone who's literally just getting to your website. There is a tool, it's called Lighthouse. Google uses Lighthouse as a page speed tool. It can give you an assessment of how fast or snappy or how optimized your site is according to what Google wants to see for organic rankings. So you can look up Lighthouse if you want. There's also Shopify themselves have also recently developed kind of a site speed score that they display in the back end. There's a ton of different ways that you can, and tools you can use to kind of determine this, but ultimately it's just as easy to experience a site on your own with multiple devices. And if you notice a significant slowdown, I would say go for fast, snappy with maybe, an image over a video that slows down your site.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else have any questions or anything else they wanted to ask about for UX UI? Is that breakfast or lunch? Ding. I was going to say, yeah, if there aren't any other questions, everything that I covered and all the references to the websites specifically that were mentioned are in the deck. Not all the screenshots and examples, just because that's difficult to get that many of them to be like 100-page deck. But yeah, if my contact information is there as well. So if you think of anything afterwards, feel free.
I came up with a comment.
Yeah, sure.
When I'm shopping online and I'm reading reviews, I give more validation to the reviews where it says verified customer, because if I see so many 5-star reviews and I don't know who wrote those. I don't know if they were hired to write them, if the company wrote them themselves. So I'm a big fan of verified customers. Yeah,
that's an example that is often used through Amazon. Amazon Reviews has introduced kind of the verified reviewer, verified purchaser, in order to separate the wheat from the chaff, because there are a lot of either sponsored, paid for, shill reviews that pop up through Amazon, and it can be an issue as well. for other merchants and their sites. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Another way that you can kind of add to that authority and trust is if your reviews include images or are allowed to include images from your customers. Those typically, it's kind of more of a trust signifier. And if you are excited about a product enough to take a picture of it with you wearing it, I believe you that what you have written is accurate.
So I have a question. I'll probably be using requesting some one-on-one with you for my website. I created it through Squarespace, and that's Hawaiian Sun Products, and then we sell drinks and food products as a manufacturer and distributor. So we're not direct to customer and are direct to consumer, but we started merchandise, hats, beach towels, tote bags, things like that we sell direct to consumer through our Shopify and Instagram. So the two look completely different,
Right.
on the desktop and on the a mobile phone, on the iPhone. So I need help making that look very compatible, and I can't get some of the logos on the phone app. It shows up on the desktop but not on the app itself, on the iPhone. So those are kinds of things. And then even our Shopify, it just looks horrible. I'll need help with that.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I mean, that makes a lot of sense in terms of, I'm glad to hear about the adding logos and making sure that is one way, to have consistent iconography, that making sure that maybe the experience is different. And of course it would be, because you'd have like a regular Squarespace site versus an e-commerce site that's trying to drive people to make purchases. Having consistent imagery and styles and icons, logos, at least that can be consistent so that people are looking at it and go, oh, it's still the brand. I can see those trust signifiers, like, hey, this is the same coloration. Hey, this is the same logo, things like that. So there are ways that you can, even though they're two completely different types of sites and with different purposes, to make sure and kind of bridge the gap between those. So yeah, we can definitely take a look at that.
All right,
When we were talking the other day about e-commerce fundamentals and which to go with, I guess what he was teaching us is that you get the most design leverage in WordPress, which is what I use. So when I'm building a site, what's nice about WordPress is that I'm building it on my desktop, but I have my mobile phone right next to me the whole time I'm doing it. And sometimes something that looks really good on the desktop might need a little space, but once you put it on your mobile, suddenly you've got like a 4-inch white gap that looks terrible on the mobile. So what I love about WordPress is that you can hide a section from desktop and then create one that you hide for a mobile. So you can do in your same design on the same page, tablet, desktop, mobile, and that gives you complete control over the experiences. Does Shopify have that same level of finessing?
They have kind of a built-in, like a baked-in responsiveness to converting your site and design to something that basically it kind of does it for you. Instead of you having to go, hey, this block doesn't work on mobile because it's too big, or it just is, it doesn't get sized the right way. Shopify ends up kind of intuitively saying, okay, this needs to move here, this needs to move here, this doesn't work anymore. So it's kind of baked in. The site that I ended up moving through the browser that kind of shifted that way, that Field Company, they're on Shopify as well. So majority of the examples that I had used today are on Shopify, not all of them, but almost all of them. So yeah, I would say it's less about you having to individually select this doesn't look good or this needs to be removed, and more about the platform itself having kind of a baked in intuitiveness that makes that responsive. Yeah.
Mahalo.
Yes, indeed. Well, everyone. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think if that's
We'll let you
You've
guys all
had-
go early unless anybody has any final questions or comments for Lita. Lita, thank you so much. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. And yeah, if you think of anything afterwards, feel free to hit me up, and yeah, we'll go forward with scheduling some one-on-one time to discuss individually. Yeah.
All right, everybody, go back into your lives. See you next time. Oh, we ho.
Thank you.